You're all very welcome to join, and welcome to those of you who are watching from home. May we begin with apologies for absence, please. Do we have any? None? Okay, thank you very much. We have the minutes of our last meeting held on the 12th of October. I plan to sign those as a true correct record after this meeting unless anyone has any issues or problems with that. Can I all ask that you agree those minutes with a show of hands, please? Proposed by Councillor Wearmouth, seconded by Councillor Wojciech. All in favour? Yes. All in favour? Show, please. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move on to the disclosure of members' interests. Does anyone have any members' interests to declare at this stage? I don't see any. So with that, we will move on to our first report, a very interesting and positive report about our waste management strategy and the rollout of our curbside glass recycling collection trial. I'm going to ask Councillor Riddle to introduce this, and then I'll pass on to the officer.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a very positive report. It's about the curbside glass recycling pilot, which we commenced last November. We did it over 4 different areas to get a good geographical and mix of residents for collection to get some very robust data. Of course, COVID has it's impacted on some of the results of this work, not least the fact that we've seen some increased, I think we would say, drinking at home, etc. And certainly the glass collection rates were far in excess of what we were expecting. The whole pilot has been very, very well received by the customers, and there's a proposal that we extend it, and also not just extend it, but also, because we have capacity, to increase the collection by about another 800 properties. This won't actually increase the number of runs that we need to do, etc. This is just utilising capacity within the system that we've got. To do that, there will be a small additional revenue cost for to purchase the 140 litre wheelie bins, I think at about £13,000. There's also the proposal to continue this this pilot through for the year, and then the sort of main goal of this is to have it in the medium-term financial plan to implement glass collection in a future year.
Thank you very much.
It's a great thing because it also contributes to the climate change agenda as well.
It certainly does. So, would an officer care to make any comments at this point? Yes, Rob Murphy.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Councillor Riddle's really correct to say that this trial was important. When we're rolling out new waste services for residents, we are following the likely direction of government policy and requirements. However, as John said, there are very clear benefits in terms of climate change for the county. What's also important to recognise is that these types of projects need to have the pilots, because it's only when we get out with the residents and work out actually in the Northumberland context how these schemes will work and what participation rates we get, and then what level of material we get through, and to what extent that's contaminated with non-glass material, and also the effect it has on our conventional network of what we call bring sites, where people take glass to those. So this pilot enables us to understand how glass recycling at a household level will work in the county, and from that we'll be in a really good place to extend it out to the rest of the county in due course. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from Cabinet members? All I can say is I think this was a great first step in something that's very important to our residents. I thank Paul Jones and the team around him for doing all the preparatory work, and to the teams involved who have gone down very well with our residents. I think it is interesting that we are collecting almost double the amount of glass than other similar authorities. That may well be due to the fact that we decided we'd go to bins rather than trays, and it may be that that it was a result of COVID, and people were probably not going out for entertainment as much as they did then, obviously, but decided to stay at home and socialise with family in the family household then. So all in all, a very good report, very positive, and we are going to be rolling this out, I believe, a bit further. Do you want to just tell us very quickly about the other areas, John?
Well, it's within the runs that we have extra capacity on the wagons, and it's virtually to have an extra it's 800 bins. It's approximately 200 per area to expand it. So really, it's utilising extra capacity at no additional cost, just the revenue, just the cost of buying the bins.
Good. Okay.
And if you'll just allow me to say, Chairman, you know, as Rob Murphy has said, this is a trial which gives us very robust data. You know, the government has bills passing through at the moment, the Environment Bill about waste, and, you know, we may well be wanting to do a trial on food waste in the coming year, because that is something that is coming down the line for us, and, you know, to have robust data is absolutely essential.
Yeah. Excellent. Good. So if there are no questions, yes, Catherine Seymour.
Yes, thank you very much for this very positive report on this pilot for the year on the glass recycling. I'm just wondering when, I know it's going to be implemented in the future, I just wondered when we can get it going for the rest of the county.
We'll be looking at that on an area by area basis. It's very important that we wait to do anything further until government publish their environment bill, because that'll all be about requesting councils to carry out recycling of a number of parts of household waste. And as well as that, you know, we may be needing to look at food waste next. So I think what we'll do is we'll wait until government talk to us more about what they would like us to do, and I think they'll be very impressed, actually, by our glass trial and our willingness to look at other options. So we'll wait for the time being. I'm told that it shouldn't be very many months before the Environment Bill is published, and then we'll take it from there. But certainly recycling is at the heart of what we want to achieve going forward. Good. Okay, so there is an update from the Scrutiny Committee at the back of this report that gives full support for what we are doing. So the recommendations are there in front of you. Is there a proposer for those recommendations? Proposed by Councillor Riddle and seconded by Councillor Watson. Are you all in favour of these proposals and recommendations? That is unanimous. Good. Thank you very much indeed, John, for all the work that you've done on this as well. So now we move on to
Chair. I think just to say, I think you're moving on to item 4, is it, which is the boundary of the Morpeth Conservation Area. I think just to be on the safe side, I don't think I've got necessarily a declaration to make here, but I won't vote on this one, being as how it's been through Morpeth Town Council previously. So I'll leave the room at this stage and come back for the next one.
So you're declaring an interest in this and leaving the room?
I'm not necessarily declaring an interest in it, but I'll leave the room because I think my mind is probably relatively set on it.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. We'll just give you a moment to leave. Okay, so we have Colin Horncastle. Colin, would you like to tell us about this report, and then we'll seek officer input after that?
Thank you, Leader. Relatively straightforward report. Commonsensical, really. It's 50 years since the introduction. of the original conservation area. It's a lot of things happened in the last 50 years, pressures from developments and so forth, town centres changing. So it's got the support of the town council, and it's got support of local members, so there's not a lot to add to it. It's just a common sense revision to the conservation area, and I fully support it.
Thank you very much. Officer comment?
Thanks, Glenn. Add on to what Colin said, that this conservation area in Morpeth was set up in about 1970, and clearly since then the town has changed. As part of the neighbourhood plan process, which is very much aimed at getting a local community to be clear about its vision for the future of the place, it was identified that they wanted the conservation area to be reviewed, to include some new areas, to exclude some places that perhaps weren't worthy of protection. And so now the work's been done, and the conservation area will give more tools for the neighbourhood plan process for them to see the types of designs and of schemes that come forward over the next years. Thanks.
Splendid, thank you. Any questions or comments at all? Yes, Catherine Seymour.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm really pleased to see that this conservation area has been revised. We really have to embrace these conservation areas because of the special architectural and historical interest, and make sure that they're protected because we have so much in Northumberland. We're very fortunate to have so much. I noticed that there's 70 conservation areas in Northumberland, and I'm very pleased that where my area up in Berwick we have 3. So yes, I fully endorse this and appreciate that this has been done. So thank you.
Good, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? If not, do we have a proposal for these recommendations? Proposed by Councillor Horncastle, seconded by Councillor Patterson. Can I have a show, please, of hands? All in favour? I think that's unanimous. Yes, it is. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, thanks, Barry. If you could fetch in the member, that'd be kind. We just pause for a second. There we are. Okay, so we are now going to move on to a policy for street naming and numbering. I'm going to ask Councillor Horncastle to give to introduce this paper, and then ask for any officer input.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Right, policy for street naming and numbering. It is actually for single dwellings as well. So the purpose of the report is, it's not something you actually think about until you actually see the report in front of you. But this report has been through scrutiny. So the County Council is responsible for the street naming and naming of houses, taken over from historically from the district councils. So why do we do it? It's to ensure the naming is logical and Royal Mail and emergency services can operate efficiently. The policy sets out what is acceptable. Street names must not cause offence to anyone. Naming a street after a living person is not permitted. Council does not charge for the service as it is discretionary, however it can charge for the administration costs. The Council will endeavour to promote street names that reflect local, geographical or historical significance to the area. Street names should not be difficult to pronounce or spell. And naming after a deceased person is allowed after 20 years with family approval or 50 years without the family approval. Describes how to number flats, which is very interesting. On new properties, developers should not number houses before council has issued the formal approvals. And developers will cover initial costs of street name plates And all the different bodies that need to be informed are in the report. And the Appendix D is very interesting because it tells you actually, it gives you background to why some areas are called Deans and Woods and the rest. So that's the report, Leader. It's just something we've got to do. It's a revision to the original one. Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Comments from officers? Phil Soderquist.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I think just to add what Councillor Horncastle has said, it is very much a revision of an existing policy, and I think a policy which has worked very well since 2009. So it was very much about revising it rather than renewing the policy in full. And I think what's important to note is what the policy seeks to do is not only set out our approach to street naming and numbering, but the process for developers to follow. There were a couple of issues raised at scrutiny, which will be addressed within the papers that you have today, and I can confirm that both of the issues raised at scrutiny can be addressed within the revised policy or within the planning process for which Mr Murphy is responsible for. But other than that, I would just commend the policy to Cabinet.
Thanks very much, Phil. Any questions or comments about this one? No? Okay, so we have a recommendation to approve the policy and delegate to the Head of Housing and Public Protection the responsibility for ensuring the administration of the policy and that all other criteria in this paper are met. Is there a proposal for that, please? Proposed by Councillor Riddle, seconded by Councillor Horncastle. All in favour, please show. Again, unanimous. Move on to the confidential section. Would someone like to propose that formal motion? Proposed by Councillor Riddle, seconded by Councillor Wearmouth. All in favour of going into closed session? Yep, that's unanimous as well. This is marvellous. Honestly, it's so good. Right, so we say goodbye to no one. Right. Okay.
Except all the thousands of people watching online. Have we switched the camera off?